Hello, Oracles. Well, we had great news yesterday in the tech world. We had Google announcing a 20-to-1 split. This is huge. This is something that has been kind of expected for a long time. So will this entice Amazon to split and maybe Tesla to split again? We don't know. Obviously, these companies need to make their own decisions based upon whatever they're going through at the time. But this is a big move, and Google now may potentially be added to the Dow. And now something we talk about a lot when we have discussed Tesla's stock split is, making the price more accessible to all investors. And while we say, there's fractional trading out there, it's not accessible to everyone around the world. And Google's actual reasoning for doing the split was knowing full well that fractional trading is more accessible to more people, it still is not enough to make it attractive to investors who don't have the kind of money to invest heavily. So they're doing this for that reason. So when we go back and we just start discussing Tesla and their split and reasonings for splitting, that one there, which has been contested on both sides, that is literally the reason Google is doing it. So looking at Tesla, that it could be another reason why Tesla does it. And now Amazon has their earnings tomorrow, so I do own Amazon. I'm hoping that Amazon will announce the same thing and they will announce a split as well. This kind of looks to the future of if Google is now going to enter the Dow. The Dow, is typically value type companies. There's a lot of value companies in the Dow. Google would be a growth company going in there. Amazon would be a growth company going in there if that happens. So this could be a huge turning point in history for us looking at this move going on. Something to pay attention to, we're at the very early stages of it. Different things are happening. So we shall pay attention to this as time goes on. But I am now investing dollar cost averaging back into Google again. I had done it before. I'm now back in it. This was kind of my point of I should have never stopped doing it moments, but it happens. So I got out, I'm back in. So I will now be investing in Google. And then looking back at Tesla, could it be coming? So one of my concerns about Tesla splitting now is the stock price. It's obviously been beaten down quite a bit over the last couple of months, but so had Google. Going into a macro environment with interest rates going up, I have a concern of we're going into some uncertain times. Is it really the best time to split? Well, now here comes Google. Now granted, Google ran up a lot higher and they kind of kicked the split can down the road for quite a bit. So, they're a slightly different situation. But that just also tells us that the macro environment is still ripe for, a potential split. So is Tesla going to split soon? Again, we've discussed it many a times. I'm not going to go too much further into it. You guys can discuss it in the comments what you think. Either way, I know that they're going to be splitting, again. I'm guessing this year at some point. But I don't know, and I know they're going to split regularly going down the road as long as they continue growing the way they are. And speaking of growing, GM and Ford released their Q4 earnings yesterday, and Tesla actually has more net income for Q4 than GM. Does that surprise any of us? No. So, Tesla had $2.32 billion in net income. GM comes in at 1.7. So we see the writing on the wall. Hopefully this is something that others are going to see. GM and Ford as well are now touting the future. They're investing more heavily into EVs. This is the direction they're going. We have also seen the EV adoption rate go up even more to 6.7%. So this, just in case there's anybody out there still wondering, are EVs the future? Yes. We are seeing it. We are seeing the adoption rate go up faster. We are seeing legacy automakers doubling down their investments into EVs. They're looking to get themselves out of ICE vehicles sooner. And so while they don't talk about it, they're starting to set their foundations and their plans to do just that. So this is another reason why Tesla, talking about bots and FSD, are so critical because yes, Tesla does produce a much better product than the legacy automakers. But the truth of the fact is the legacy automakers are going to be producing vehicles. The mass public out there is not aware of the differences. We do because we're in Tesla, we know it, but the general public is just like, oh, it's an electric vehicle, it's an electric car. That's all they know it is. There's a Tesla, which is an expensive version, and then there's going to be the GM and the Fords. Of course, you and I know that it's not that GM and Ford are less expensive. It's just that that's what the mentality is of the public. Because Tesla produces such a good vehicle, everybody says, oh, well, Tesla is expensive. They've been the ones who have been doing it for so long, and people's mentality is comparing prices of the EVs of Tesla to comparing the prices of ICE vehicles for the other automotive makers, and they're just assuming that their EVs are going to be the same prices as ICE vehicles. That's just the mentality of where the general public is right now. Obviously, we know once the reality comes out and GM and Ford start putting out more vehicles, people are going to realize, oh, they're not less expensive, but right now they currently think that. So Tesla going into the FSD phase, going into robotaxis, that's what's going to separate them because they're still 5 years in the lead as far as technology and advancements go. So in order to keep that lead, they need to keep on pushing themselves forward. And then we talk about robotics and Optimus further on down the road as well. But looking at the trajectory that we're going at, looking at the direction that we're moving, yes, EVs are going to be 100% taking over the world at some point, I'm guessing within the next decade. And so because Legacy Auto is pushing that direction, it is going to bring everyone else with it. And this just means that Tesla has a bigger room to fill, faster. And then, this is something that Gary Black brings up between, needing maybe advertisements and stuff and spending money on ads because these other legacy automakers are coming up. They do spend on ads, and those of us in the Tesla community are well aware of what's going on with Tesla and how great they are. And, we talk about it and we have the social media advertising, but we don't have general advertising that broadly hits everyone else out there. And then Tesla has a recall from NHTSA that comes over, which is really just an over-the-air software update for people who are barely using, the beta. So it's absolutely ridiculous that this happens. Now, Gary Black's argument is this is why you need a PR team, because the PR team is going to keep the reality in sight, because there's a lot of people, again, not in the Tesla community, who see this and say, oh, Teslas are failing. And that's all they're going to read. They're only going to read a headline. And they're going to be like, oh, well, Teslas are having issues. They're having safety problems. Okay, gone. You don't see those same headlines coming over for the GMs and Fords. And Elon stated in a tweet, we're going to see a lot less headlines and articles and news reports coming over about EV fires because Legacy Auto is doing more EVs and they don't want the negative publicity. So that will end up turning. And then on the other side of things, we say, hey, you know what? The proof is in the pudding, and we all know reality of what it is. And those of us who are in the community, we talk about it. Tesla's factual vehicles and the product that they produce is significantly better than everyone else's. So it's there. But again, the general public does not know this. The general public reads headlines. Think about it. Ask yourself, anytime you go on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you see these people having arguments about stuff they know nothing about because they read a headline and they make assumptions. And this is to Gary Black's point, why they need a PR team to prevent those things from happening and just having headline arguments. Let me know your thoughts on that. What do you think about Tesla not having a PR team? Do you think us as social media PR team for Tesla is doing a great job? Do you think we are covering the bases where a PR team would, and we're making sure this doesn't get out of hand? Or do you think Tesla really should have a true PR team to prevent things like this? I mean, honestly, I really don't know. I mean, I'm kind of on both sides of the fence here, because I'm like, what else would a PR team do that us on social media are not doing? We're going out there and we're just spreading the truth and squashing the FUD. I don't know how much more a PR team could do it. I don't know what other areas they're going to be able to jump into. I don't know if it's because it's an official PR team that people will more listen to it because they're not Tesla fanboys. This is, I'm open for discussion on this, so you guys let me know in the comments what you feel. And so jumping back over to the stock price, We saw what we were expecting yesterday. I thought we were going to see kind of a red or flat day, but barely red. And that's exactly what we saw. You see an almost 11% run up. There's going to naturally be some profit taking. I think that some of the recall headlines maybe squashed the run up a little bit more, because you saw the rest of the macro environment, especially on the NASDAQ side. I know my portfolio was slightly green, but you saw some of the really beat down growth stocks kind of springing back a little bit more. But overall, it was macro environment was up. Had a nice finish to the day, which is another great signal that we are going to continue this rally going forward. How much longer it's going to last, obviously no one knows. But it's nice to see this rally and this momentum going. Perhaps while we are on this nice little uptrend, Tesla will have some good positive catalyst announcements, maybe Berlin opening, Austin opening, some other news like that coming out of Tesla to kind of take advantage of this now upswing trend to continue us going forward. We've seen in the past, Tesla will go on 21-day euphoric rallies. We're kind of on day 3 of that. Yesterday was a little, flat red, but they had those along their 21-day rallies as well. So, maybe we are starting this. Maybe we see 21 days of green. We get ourselves up higher. We don't know. It would be super nice to see. Only time will tell on this one. But I think if we get some positive catalysts coming out of Tesla, then we will definitely see some of these runs going up even higher. Let me know in the comments below, how do you feel about Google's 20-to-1 split? Do you think it's going to entice Amazon and Tesla to split as well? Let me know in the comments, because this is something that is extremely exciting in the market to see. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, as well as all of my daily trades over there. Otherwise, thank you all so much. Have a great one.